Hey, welcome back. We're at Unit 7-9, and now we get into some interesting stuff. This one's called work problems. Work problems. We're going to see where a couple of people are working together, and let's say I'm doing a job and you're doing a similar job. It takes me a certain amount of time and you a certain amount of time. What if we work together? How long would it take us if we combined our efforts? Okay, that's what we're looking at today. First, let's start with our math career. A cartographer. Just think maps, lots of maps. Cartographers design, prepare, and revise maps, charts, plans, three-dimensional models, and spatial information databases, often using computer-based techniques and applying principles from science, mathematics, and graphic design. I'm partial to maps. I like looking at maps and so on. But nonetheless, this would be a fun job here. Lots of math there, but I tell you, if all things considered, that's a job I'd be interested in right there. A cartographer. Today we will learn to solve work problems. So let's take a look here. Just sit back and watch this, and let me kind of walk you through this. So suppose one painter can paint the entire house in 12 hours, and the second painter takes 8 hours. How long would it take two painters together to paint the house? Okay. Now here's kind of the trick of this. The trick of these types of things is, I know they give us 12 hours, 8 hours, and so on. Notice I underlined hours there. I want you to consider if the first painter takes 12 hours, and the question I have for you is, if you hired the painter, he comes over and he says, this is going to take me 12 hours. And you said, okay, go ahead and get started. And you ran to run some errands. Let's say you went out and you were gone for 1 hour. When you came back, how much of the house would be painted? Well, if it takes him 12 hours to paint the house, and you're gone for 1 hour, if you come back, he should have 1/12 of the house painted, correct? Now, what if it's a few years later, and you want to repaint the house, and this painter says, I can paint your house in 8 hours. And you say, okay, no problem, I'll be back in an hour. You leave, you run some errands, you come back 1 hour later, what fraction of your house is painted? Well, you should have 1/8 of your house painted, correct? So let's say the third time you paint your house, you say, you know what, how about we combine those two painters and get this done faster? Okay, so let's do this. So now let's combine their efforts to paint the one house. So here's what we'll do. In 1 hour blocks, we can take 1/12 of the house painted in 1 hour plus 1/8 of the house painted in 1 hour equals one house painted. That's why we have a 1 there. Okay, back to 6th, 7th grade. Let's find a common denominator. So between 12 and 8, would you agree is 24? Change those numerators. And now just combine like terms. 2 over 24 plus 3 over 24. Well, that's 5 over 24. And how do we solve for h? Remember our old trick. In order to make any fraction disappear, multiply by the reciprocal. So what's the reciprocal of 5 over 24? Well, that's 24 over 5. And now, because we're dealing with a real-world problem, let's go ahead and solve that. 24 divided by 5, well, that's actually 4.8 hours. So those guys will be in and out of your house, done with it, under 5 hours. All right, let's work one together here. It says Peter can mow the lawn in 40 minutes and John can mow the lawn in 60 minutes. How long will it take for each of them to mow the lawn together? So here we go again. We got two people here that are going to be mowing a lawn. Peter starts mowing the lawn. You walk in the house to answer the phone. You come back 1 minute later. How much of your lawn has been mowed? Well, wouldn't you say 1/40th has been? What about John? The next week you hire John to do it. John starts the mower up. You go inside. You get a glass of water. You come back 1 minute later. He has 1/60th of your lawn cut. Well, what if we combine their efforts? What if we hire them both at the same time and turn them loose? Okay, and they're going to mow the same lawn here. So we get 1 over 40m, that's m stands for minutes, plus 1 over 60m equals 1 yard mowed. What's our common denominator? 1 over 40 and 1 over 60. How about 120? Now you can choose a larger number if you want, like 240 or something, but 120 is the smallest or least common denominator. Change those numerators and add them up. 3 over 120m plus 2 over 120m equals 1 yard. How do we get rid of that fraction? Remember your trick, multiply by the reciprocal. So what's the reciprocal of 5 over 120? It's multiply both sides by 120 over 5. It's a word problem, so let's go ahead and get an exact answer. looks like 24 minutes. So working together, and kind of intuitively, does that make sense? If one guy takes 40 minutes, one guy takes 60 minutes, together they should certainly take less than 40 minutes, right? So the answer feels right, it is right, it's math. All right then, there's your suggestion if you want some more instruction there at the top, and there's a digital score practice at the bottom. Go ahead and have fun, and we'll be practicing together as well.